you conditioning your audience? And what I mean by this is every post you write, every podcast episode you release, every video that you record and you publish, every email that you send, every single thing you do with your online business is conditioning your audience. The only question, of course, is how are you conditioning your audience? Now, we've been talking all month about monetizing a small email list during our ultimate guide to monetizing a small email list. And today we're going to talk about something that you have to do from day one, not from day 10, not from like a month after you start your business, but the moment you start your business. The reality is people are creatures of habit. Now that can be bad or it can be good for your email marketing. Now, my co-host today, Mark Sieverkrop, I'll never forget what he said one time. He said, one way or another, you are conditioning your audience. You're either conditioning them to click your links or not. Now you see two marks on your screen. So I want to address the elephant in the room. Yes, Mark Tim, I just called you an elephant. Not only am I joined today by Mark Sieverkrop, but I'm joined today by Mark Tim, and I'm going to share in just a moment why he's on, because I'm really excited about that. But that quote there, that one way or another, you're conditioning your audience. You can tweet that. You can share it. Tattoo it on your arm. I met a lady this weekend. She got a really cool thing tattooed on her arm, and I'm considering getting a tattoo. I'm going to pull a Ray Edwards on that. You're either conditioning them to click your links or not. Now, we're going to share 9 ways today to condition your audience, to get them to click your emails to whatever it is you want them to click. This conditioning is what leads to more traffic and ultimately more sales. Now, this is huge. This is huge, as Donald Trump would say. Mark, I remember when you said that about conditioning your audience, like immediately that became one of like our mottos as a company.
I can see you.
I can see you. I can hear you, hopefully. Let us know. Oh, weird. Yeah, you're right. This is, do you want to jump out and can you shut it down and see if you can get back in, or let us know in the comments if you guys can hear Mark Sieverkrop, and then we'll see if we can go from there. But in the meantime, and Mark, if they can't see you, look for those comments. If they can't see you, just maybe you can, I don't know how you would do that, but figure out how to fix that. I see Mark Tim, but do not see or hear Mark Sieverkrop. Phil says that sucks. Well, you know what, Mark Tim, this may turn into it's always the Mark and Matt show. It's just a different Mark. But before we get into those ways to condition your audience, I wanted to invite Mark Tim on just for a little bit, because ultimately, guys, what conditioning your audience is about is sales. It is about selling. It's one thing to have a big email list. It's one thing to have them clicking on your links. Yippity-doo-dah. But you got to close those sales. And so I just invited Mark Tim on to share about something really cool that's going on right now, but it ends today. And so Mark Tim, I'm going to kind of turn it over to you, and you can share all about it, bud.
You know, I have to tell you that yesterday was like this incredible experience. I see Phil's on here. He was with us yesterday. So we had some of the icons of just our industry. Bob Proctor was on. And Bob Proctor spent 30 minutes talking about how, as a young guy, he showed up to this audience, and he was a speaker. And he happened to be sharing the stage with this speaker named Zig Ziglar. And wow. Zig was the headliner. And Zig, not only did Zig speak, and he was there listening to him speak, but he noticed that Zig actually listened to Bob speak. And then after it was over, when the dust was settling, he actually went up to Bob. He pulled him off into the corner, and he said, "Hey, I want to spend some time with you. I think you've got an opportunity to absolutely impact the world." But he said, "You're going to have to learn to sell." And and Bob at first was like, "What do you mean?" And he goes, "Look, you've got an incredible message. Like you've got something that the world needs to hear, but you're up there explaining it. You're up there sharing it. You want people to walk out with your message. You want to change their life. You want to change the way they, that they actually do something with what you're saying. You need to start selling your message from the moment you walk in the room. From the moment you walk in that room. I'm not talking about when you get up on stage. I mean, the moment you walk in the room, you start selling. And then he gave him like this epic, mentorship on selling and became Bob's mentor. And Bob was sitting there going, I don't even know where I would be today. Now, Bob has done, it's no secret, hundreds of millions of dollars in sales as a result of that. He has impacted, equally as many people. He's now a master of his own. But he said, if it had not, he's like, I don't even want to think about where I would be right now if Zig Ziglar had not pulled me off to the side and had the guts to tell me that explaining and sharing is not going to get it done. That if I didn't learn to sell, my message would never stick. It would never have the impact. And it wouldn't resonate. And he's like, I don't even know how many millions of dollars that I can attribute to that, the bravery of him doing it. And then obviously Bob had to listen and had to implement. And he's like, I've spent the rest of my life, he's like, I don't have any problem telling people right now. I sell from the moment I get off the plane until the moment I get back on the plane, I'm selling, because it's not just that I'm selling my stuff. He's like, but I'm selling them on why I'm so passionate, why I believe in this. He's like, I'm selling all the time. And so, so we're talking about icons. We're talking about Bob Proctor, Zig Ziglar. We had Les Brown on. Les Brown said the same thing. He was talking about the same thing. And so for whatever reason, we've gotten like totally derailed on this idea of selling, that we got to be like cute about it or sneaky about it, or, and it's part of the reason why we are so mixed up and messed up around this whole idea, versus just coming right out and saying, Bob's like, I have no problem saying this because I believe so much in what I have to offer. So if you believe you have a product, purpose, or passion that the world needs, why would you be shy about it? Why wouldn't you just come right out and start, in Zig Ziglar fashion, in Bob Proctor fashion? This is not, slimy or sleazy tactics. This is coming out and saying, this will change your life. This will benefit you. Yes, if I'm selling you something, here's the price, here's the benefit. The benefit is bigger than the price. And here's the coolest thing, okay? This is like, if I had to sum up everything yesterday on the live cast, but I can't do that. In fact, I don't know if you want to share, like the live cast is, we're actually, the live cast was so epic that we're letting people actually watch it today. They can have access.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I missed it. And I feel bad because I know I had an opportunity to actually be on there. But as you know, Mark, we were traveling back from, well, actually, because there's something you said that I want to touch on from.
Yeah, touch on it.
We're traveling back.
I'll give access to where everybody can find it. Okay.
Yeah, and so unfortunately, the internet down there, you're lucky, as you know, if you can get like one bar.
Yeah.
And then so, but it was awesome. And there's something you said that I got this week, and so last week, Kevin, as in Kevin Harrington, said something that Zig has said many times, which is to sell is to serve. Well, I wanted to piggyback on that. So we're down there. It was me, Jeff Walker, Amy Porterfield, and Michael Hyatt. And they arranged for us to spend an afternoon with Brian Lee, who is the general manager of Blackberry Farm, to talk to us about their legendary service. And he said something, and Mark, I kid you not, when we went around the table the Wednesday night and shared like our biggest takeaway from the week, every single person agreed that this was it, which was crazy. And Brian said, to serve is a privilege. And so if you do the lineation there, if to sell is to serve and to serve is a privilege, then what is selling? It's a privilege. And
wow.
That was just a total, like I knew it. I guess it was it wasn't really a mindset shift. It was a heart shift. Like I knew it intellectually, but to get that into my heart that to sell is a privilege was huge, man. It was so like, yes, that is so it.
I love it. Well, if you want to throw this in, we can throw this in the comments. I had to look it up to see. Put in sos2.co/live stream. So it's not got a fancy thing. This will take you so that people can actually see if they want to go check out. I know Phil was with us yesterday. He's probably commenting in there. But it was beyond you. I mean, we had John Lee Dumas on there. We had Bob Proctor. We had Les Brown. So Les Brown had people laughing so hard that people were putting in the comments, if Les doesn't stop, I'm going to get fired, because they were listening to it on their headphones at work, and they were laughing out loud, and here's the cool thing. Okay, so here are these godfathers of inspiration, motivation, and online marketing, and they were all talking about sales. So the theme yesterday. So that kind of goes along with what you're saying. So it's one thing to hear it from Matt or from Mark or from me, but it's another thing to listen to a Bob Proctor or Les Brown, and they all pointed back to the fundamentals. Like, you learn this, I know, who was it? There was somebody that got asked the question, aren't salesmen just born? Like, are you born a salesman, or is it something you learn? And like, this speaker got so upset and so fired up, because they're like, I'm so tired of people saying, salesmen are born. No, they're not. Some of the very best. I know who it was. Ed Dale.
Yeah.
Ed is like painfully introverted, yet he's an incredible salesman. I mean, he could have gone on for 3 hours. I mean, he was the end of the second session, and he was unbelievable. And, probably more people signed up during his time frame than anybody. And yet he would sit there and say, I'm painfully introverted, I'm painfully shy. And so that's just a complete hogwash, he said, that you're born a salesman, because that's just not true. In fact, a lot of introverted people are better at sales than extroverted, because they're more authentic and real and genuine. I mean, Ed was holding up his Hello Kitty collection, wearing a Stormtrooper shirt. Okay. And yet people were going, this guy is amazing. I mean, what he was saying was just so real and so genuine and so impactful that, people would have bought anything he threw out there next, maybe even his Hello Kitty collection.
That is crazy. I've got to watch that. So Mark Sievercup dropped the link, guys, in the chat, so you guys can go check that out. You guys made that available through today, which is very generous. Yeah. So now I know what I'm gonna be doing for much of the rest of my day.
Awesome. I mean, go look at it. I mean, it's we're thinking. This is just spitballing here, but we're thinking about doing something with that live stream, that just with the content on there, because it was better than most summits I've ever been to, because of the caliber. We had John Lee Dumas on there. Ian Stanley was on there, Rachel Miller on there, just Tom Ziegler was on there, Kevin Harrington was on there, Marisa Murgatroyd was on there. It was powerful, absolutely powerful.
That is awesome. So real quick, Mark, Tim, this is a big day for a very specific reason. I know we have the Honorable Phil Card on, and Phil has decided to join the community of Secrets of Successful Selling. And I just want to say welcome, because I know I'll be in there and I'm excited about that. I'm excited to learn more about it. But
now, Phil has not only joined, Phil is like joined, and he's already consuming the content, and he's already putting it to action. And so, so Phil is like a superstar. And, so the Secrets of Successful Selling is an online community. It's a masterclass taught by Zig Ziglar, Kevin Harrington, Michelle Prince, and myself. And we basically go through and we teach the process of selling in a way that anybody can implement and plug into their business, to their product, and really scale up from there. Now, why is that important? Why is it important to learn the process of selling? I'll tell you why. Because we all have this kind of funny feeling about it. And Mark Sievercup, you're going to want to throw this into the link too. The process takes the pressure off the person. So most people have this, like fear or insecurity around the idea of selling. If you master the process, just stop for just a second, just like marinate on that. If you master the process, then the pressure goes away and you get to be the person. So the process takes the pressure off the person. We're all more natural and trustworthy as who we are. When we get all afraid and all, skittish, we become less trustworthy, less effective at getting our message across, less effective at selling. So the key is master the process, then the pressure goes away, and then you just get to be yourself, and people know, like, and trust you, and they'll buy from you. it was actually Bob Proctor said, he said, I'll make a commitment. Anybody watching this that gets involved with this program, if they will spend 15 to 20 minutes a day on this program for the next year, they will never have to worry about money again. Money will absolutely never be a worry again, because when you master this process, you don't ever have to worry about money again, because you will have no problem making it, no problem giving it away, no problem making more of it. Your whole life will change. And so that's how much he believes in that session he had with Zig when he pulled him off to the corner. He's like, I decided to master what Zig was teaching. And once I did, he said, I've never had to worry about money ever again in my entire life. And he's like, you master this process, and money gets to be something that you that just is always going to be there, because it's not an issue.
That's powerful. Yeah, I would dare say that that's true. I know that for me, the stuff that I've learned from Zig has blessed me to the point where, at least since being an adult, like 24, 25, I'm thankful, because like I've never had to worry about money, and growing up the way I did with my mom, single mom, that was a constant thing. But Zig's words, and then of course now his like the downline from Zig, not to use an MLM term, but the downline from Zig going to Kevin Harrington to you. It just keeps going and going and going. Those words from Zig are, it's so cliche to say, but they literally changed the complete trajectory of my life. And I love what Phil's saying there. I've already used lessons from Vault 1. So he's like honestly, Vault 1 is like the introduction vault. Yeah. It's not even the meat of the stuff. It's like the introduction to a book that sometimes you're tempted to even skip. And she responded, she loved what I presented. We are meeting to finalize on Monday, and it is all because everything is selling. So if that's Vault 1, guys, just imagine what Vaults 2 and 3 and 4 and so on are like. That's going to be amazing for you, Phil. That's awesome.
Well, and I love what Jill says. You guys are turning the salesman stereotype on its head. It was so fun to listen to these guys talk about it, because they're some of the most genuine, respected, just loving human beings on the face of the earth, yet they consider themselves to be absolute salesmen. And so the stereotypical salesman, the slick, slimy, sleazy, manipulative, timeshare salesman, used car salesman, what Les Brown was saying is that shame on those people, because they're not selling, okay? They're stealing. They're manipulating. Yeah. That's not selling. Selling is the transference of feeling. You're giving that feeling that you have, that passion you have around something, to somebody else, so that they can feel the way you do. They can feel the passion that you have. That's not selling, and that's where it gets a bad name. Hollywood did that. People who were out for a buck did that. But the cool thing is that when you really learn what Bob's talking about, what Les is talking about, what we're talking about, actually, you start to fear not selling way more than you do selling, because you fear you fear depriving the world of something that you have to offer, that you've got something valuable to give to the world. Maybe it's a product, maybe it's a service, maybe it's a nonprofit, but the world could use what you have. And so therefore you're robbing the world of it. So your fear should be bigger of not selling than it is of selling. And so if you could take, here's the fear of selling, here's the fear of not selling, you got to flip those. And the fear of not selling, that's what gets you up before your alarm clock goes off. It's like, I've got somebody to help today. Mm-hmm. That's what the general manager of Blackberry Farms, I've got someone to serve today, because it's a privilege for me to serve. So therefore, I don't need an alarm clock, because I can't wait to serve. And as a result of that, that property never has to worry about clients or customers again.
Yeah. Well, Mark, Tim, thank you so much. Guys, go check it out. Mark Sieverkrop is going to drop the link in the chat where you guys can go sign up. You've got, as of right now, you've got about 12 and a half hours So I hate to say this.
Yeah. And can I share one more? I want to share one more thing, Matt, on that.
Yeah.
We did something today. If you go, so we gave you the link for the live stream. Okay, that's awesome. But if you go to if you want to shortcut that and you want to go and check out and Mark, you can drop the link for the page where they can actually order today. And the reason why is because we're doing something that I don't think has ever been done in the history of online marketing. And that is, we are offering our masterclass today, and we're actually letting you decide how much monthly that you want to pay for it. So we're partnered with a technology that will allow you to basically, I mean, you still have to pay for the class, don't get me wrong, but you choose how much monthly is in your budget. You choose what fits for you. And, so it's like, that's the way it should be. And we're not upselling. There's no fees. There's no credit check. We're not charging more than what the class is being offered for. All of that stuff that's typical in online marketing. The class is what it is, fair price, and then you choose the monthly amount, and you're not penalized for doing that. You're actually encouraged to do that. You still get all the bonuses. You still get all the goodies that come along with that. So I thought I would mention that and just share with you so that, because that's just kind of a cool thing. And you heard it first on Matt and Mark's Facebook Live.
Yeah. So that's cool. That is an idea that I had last year that we could not implement, Mark. And just as a side note, I've totally got to talk to you after you get some rest, like next week sometime. I've got to talk to you about the technology behind that, because that's something that we've
I will, because Ryan, our good friend Ryan Levesque, worked on it for a year as well. So,
nice.
So this is a little bit like the Holy Grail, and a lot of people have been going down that path. And so, and I think we figured it out. Now, it wasn't easy. It took us 6 months. We had to learn a lot. I'm more than willing to share. In fact, I'll absolutely, debrief fully. I mean, we could end up doing another Facebook Live someday in the future, just talking about that idea.
That would be awesome. Yeah, I would love that, because that's huge. It's revolutionary. That's part of the coolness, but it's like you hear that and you go, that just makes sense.
It does.
I remember it was about this time, like almost this week last year, that I shared it with I won't mention his name, but I shared it with somebody that you and I both know, and he was like, if you can pull that off, that'd be a game changer.
Well, I'll share with you, and everybody listening to your show, I mean, they all have products and everything. They could benefit from this. So I'll give you the debrief, and then we can schedule a time in the future and share it. So
awesome. Well, thank you, Mark.
All right. Appreciate you guys.
Yes. So guys, go check out the link that Mark Sieverkrop just dropped in the chat to go enroll in Secrets of Successful Selling. And Mark Sieverkrop, I'm excited, man, to talk about today's topic, today's main topic, which is how to condition your audience.
Can I before we even get into that?
Did we lose Mark Sieverkrop?
Can you not hear me?
I think we did.
You can't hear me?
Oh, okay. Well, we lost Mark Sieverkrop. Hopefully Mark Sieverkrop can hear me. There he is. He's back.
I was talking the whole time.
Yeah, you were totally not, though.
It's weird. And I hear myself, which I've never had happen.
Oh, wow.
So this will be fun.
So real quick, guys, share. We're going to get started on the meat of the presentation today, which is, again, conditioning your audience. Share, comment, ask a lot of questions. We're going to pick the best comment or the best share, however we decide to pull that off today. And Mark's going to choose a winner at the end. You're going to win Ray Edwards' How to Write Copy That Sells. Is a perfect complement to today's topic about conditioning your audience, because I'd say about a third of what we talk about today I got from Ray. And a third of what we talk about came from this book or my just talking to Ray over the years. So guys, this is an awesome opportunity to win this book. It is the best book on copywriting out there. This will make you a better email marketer, make you a better marketer. Heck, I'll go so far as to say it will make you a better person. You'll be a better person. You'll certainly be a more likable and better person. So it's just awesome.
Can I, before we jump in?
Yeah.
Can I just say, everything we talk about today hinges on what Mark told us like 3 minutes ago. This idea of I can't not share something and just that's what you have to be doing. That you have to be promoting stuff that you can't not share with your audience.
Yeah. And that's that feeling in affiliate marketing. And I've talked about so many times of there's a product out there that your audience needs. And really what affiliate marketing is, you have that mentality of you've got to see this. Like I have to share this with you. And like I said, I spent this week, it's just been, I had an amazing week. Very relaxing, also very strenuous in the sense that we climbed a mountain, and that was Walker Mountain, which is appropriate considering that we were there with Jeff Walker. And I will share a lot more with you guys. I've got some really cool podcast episodes coming out. We're gonna probably share this on some Facebook Live. Some really cool content coming out about what I got this week. It was sitting at the table with Michael and Gail Hyatt, Jeff and Mary Walker, and Amy Porterfield and her husband Hobie. Just amazing, just absolutely amazing. And I joked, I use an old Dave Ramsey quote. When he used to spend time with like Zig Ziglar and people like that, he'd say he felt like a wiener in a steakhouse. And there were times this week where I felt like a little bit like a wiener in a steakhouse. But to have that opportunity to sit with them and to get encouragement from them and wisdom from them and a lot to share there. But that one thing where Brian Lee, the general manager of Blackberry Farm, said, to serve is a privilege. And you see that throughout, everything at this place. I was sharing with Mark earlier, there's just the little things that you don't even think about, like when you come back from dinner and there's a fire in your fireplace in your cottage. Those little things, when your fridge is always fully stocked with everything you want. When they learn, like they learned what we wanted to drink, and that's what they brought. And they brought less of the stuff that we weren't drinking and more of the stuff that we were. When they learn, not even without us really even telling them, they learned our favorite table in the restaurant.
Wow.
And they learned our favorite, when they knew our favorite waiter. And so we always had, him, and they learn these. It's just amazing. And and you could tell that it's a privilege for them to serve. You could tell that. And so we'll talk about that later. But again, if to sell is to serve and to serve is a privilege, then selling is a privilege. And that was kind of the key message. So today is all about this ultimate guide to monetizing a small email list. If you haven't already yet, make sure you go to mattmcwilliams.com/small. That's where all the content is. And you can click on a button there to get Facebook Messenger updates as well. Or you can go directly to mattmcwilliams.com/UG. Mark will drop both of those in the chat there, and you can get those Facebook Messenger updates. We're talking today about how to condition your audience. So let's start with taking a look at what the top email marketers are doing. A while back, about 2 years ago, I studied 10 of my favorite online marketers' emails. Now, in fact, 3 of the people who were there this week were in that top 10. And then the fourth one of the top 10 were either this book, Ray Edwards, or the 3 folks I was hanging out with this week, Michael Hyatt, Amy Porterfield, and Jeff Walker. And I was looking at their emails, and I studied about, 30 total email lists, narrowed it down to about 10, the ones who I felt like were doing it really well. We're talking different niches and all that stuff. They're all doing the same stuff. So here's what I found. These are really cool stats. And Mark, if you could drop the stats in the chat, I think it'll help people follow along, because I'm going to run through some numbers. I don't know about you guys, but my mind kind of starts to wonder when I hear percentages.
Chat or on the screen?
Either one. So here's really cool stats. 96% of their emails had click as the CTA, the call to action. Okay. So 96% of these top marketers' emails said, click this as the call to action. 88% of them called them to click to either a post, a video, or a podcast. In other words, content. They're sending them to content, right? 5% of the time they linked, again, click here was the call to action, but they linked to an affiliate promotion, something that was outside of their ecosystem. So they're promoting somebody else. 3% linked to an internal promo. So basically, click here to buy my product. Not exactly what it would say, but you get the idea. 3% of their emails had a call to action that basically said, reply to this email and blank. Only 1% had no call to action. 96% the call to action was click, 3% reply, 1% no call to action. So right there you see, you want to condition your audience, you got to tell them what you want them to do. That's what the top marketers are doing across multiple niches. They're conditioning their audience to click from their emails. Way too often, you're starting an online business, you're not conditioning your audience. Or actually you are, as we led off with what Mark Sieverkrop said. You're conditioning them to do something that's not what you want them to do. So why is conditioning your audience so important? Well, it's important because the problem is if you don't condition your audience, they don't know what to expect. If you don't actually condition them, maybe you're all over the place, or you condition, you go from one extreme to another, they don't know what to expect. Or they do, and it's the wrong thing. So if you don't ask them to click, and then you do, if you're not consistently asking your audience to click so that they're used to opening your emails, looking for a link and clicking it, they aren't used to it. So your click rates are going to suffer, which means that when you need a click, like you need them to go to your product, they're not going to do anything. They're not going to click. When you're consistently calling them to click your links in an email, they do so almost reflexively. We watch this. There are studies out there that show that if you condition your audience to click, they will literally open the email, not even read it, and look for where to click. Or they'll look for the link, make sure it's there. Great. They'll go back up and read it. If you watch the eye tracking studies, it's a reflex. That's how you increase your clicks. That's how you increase your sales. And that's true whether we're talking about affiliate offers, your own products, coaching, service, doesn't matter. That's how you do it. You get them to almost reflexively, it's a hard word for me to say today, reflexively click on your email. So how do you condition your audience to click? Well, as I mentioned, I've got 9 ways. I'm going to share with you in just a moment. Just a quick reminder, you can win this book, amazing copywriting book, How to Write Copy That Sells by Ray Edwards. Share today's live. Tell your friends about it. Drop a comment, drop a question, and you can be entered to win. We'll draw a winner at the end.
We got a question.
And then one last thing, reminder that this is all a part of the ultimate guide to monetizing a small email list. And again, Mark dropped the links in there, mattmcwilliams.com/small and mattmcwilliams.com/UG. The first one is where you go to view everything and get a schedule of what's coming up. And then the second one is where you go to get notified when we have another Facebook Live coming up or when we add new content to that. Yeah. So Mark, you have a question.
Yeah. Now I lost it. Hold on. There it is. Jill said, will you share the 10 somewhere? So the 10 marketers that you studied. She said that way so we can study them.
I mentioned 4 of them. Yeah, I don't know. I know I'll name the ones that I know for a fact because there are actually about 30. And so there might be a couple of these that didn't make the cut for the 10. So bear with me. Of course, Ray, one of the best email copywriters out there, if not the best. So I know I studied him. I know, in fact, I told Jeff and Amy and Michael about that we were doing this today, and they were honored, that we would use them. But yeah, Jeff Walker, Amy Porterfield, Michael Hyatt. I'm almost supremely confident that Ryan Levesque was on that list. I know for a fact that my friend Eric Andreas, who's a guitar instructor, because I wanted some variety in there. I know we studied him. Susan Garrett, who's a dog trainer, because I didn't want this to just all be online marketers, people teaching online marketing. Although Michael Hyatt teaches leadership, so it's a little bit different. I want to say, I'm pretty sure Dave Ramsey. I don't know if he made the cut, but I know we looked at him. I know we looked at Stu McLaren. I know we looked at Russell Brunson. I know we looked at Garrett J. White. Was a big one. That I know he made the top 10. Trying to think, and again, he's not in online marketing. So we had a pretty good, I would say of the top 10, it was about 50-50 online marketers and not online marketers in the sense of, Ray Edwards essentially, teaches copy. He teaches something that kind of ties in with online marketing. So we wanted a variety of things. Like I said, Susan Garrett with the dog training. Oh gosh, I forgot his name.
Typing this list in the chat, by the way, Matt.
Yeah. Oh shoot. Guy, he teaches. Oh my word, it is going to come to me at the weirdest possible time. But he teaches. It's not Garrett J. White, but it's another guy that teaches very similar topic. And Erin Walker. I had to think about Erin Walker, from Middle Tennessee, and but he teaches
Erin Walker. Like that we know. Okay.
But yeah, Erin, teaches men and women, I think, to some extent. It's all about legacy and kind of getting past the grind of workaholism and stuff like that. So again, lots of different niches. And so today I saw Gwen's comment about, it works in email, but doesn't necessarily work on Facebook. Yeah, we're talking all about email today, since we're in this, ultimate guide to monetizing a small email list. It's all about email. A lot of what we talk about today, some of these, like the first one we'll share, does not transfer to Facebook. Well, actually, it kind of does if you pay close enough attention. A lot of what we're going to talk about, it doesn't transfer to social media. It's really talking about email. Which actually, I got to share something from this week. Sorry. Again, and I promise I'm going to get into the 9 things to help condition our, but this is relevant. We had, so this conversation, me and Jeff Walker and Michael Hyatt, because Amy had already left. And we were talking about how in 2003, I forget the guy's name. I would know it if he said it, but Chris something or another, who wrote the book in like 1996 about the first book ever about email marketing, right? And he stood up on this table at this mastermind and, he's telling the group, email is dead. Email marketing is dead. And I told them about how I did a study of this. If you go look at search results from 2000, I started in 2008, so I didn't even look before that. But in 2008, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 11 years worth of data, and you go look up email marketing is dead in quotation marks. There are over 1 million search results every year for 11 straight years. How can that be right? So they were wrong in 2008. They're wrong in 2009. They're wrong in 2018. And so Michael posited the question, what's the next email? What's the next thing that you can't live without to build your online business? And I looked at Jeff Walker. He kind of looked at me and I go, email. And he goes, yeah, it's email. Email, I mean, there is no, there'll be a next Facebook. Newsflash, I'm probably going to get, I don't know, this live stream. If it ends suddenly, I don't know why. There's going to be another Facebook, and it's probably statistically speaking going to go away at some point, right? There'll be another Instagram. There'll be another Pinterest. There'll be something better, and that's the way that the world goes. There will not be anything that beats email. I mean, it's just, there'll be iterations. There'll be secrets, but I think 10 years from now, it's still email. So how do you get your audience to actually click those emails? Well, number one, don't send your entire post in email. Very simple. Do not send your posts in email. When I first started blogging, some of you might laugh because you're like, well, no, duh. But I know some of you do this. So I have to tell you, I used to send the entire post via email to my list. I did it because that's what I saw other people doing. Now, the great thing about this was it was totally automated. You set up an RSS feed. And so what I would do is I would write the post, I would schedule it. And then right after I scheduled it, MailChimp automatically sent it out. It was amazing. The downside was that there was no incentive for people to click to my site. They read the whole email or post in the email. So when I did promote something that required a click, no one actually clicked. Going back to our original point, my audience was conditioned to not click. So, the aforementioned Michael Hyatt, who I spent this week with, he went through the same thing. His audience was used to getting the whole blog. That's actually when I originally started blogging like 1 million years ago, I stole the idea from him. Oh, you just put the whole blog post in the email, right? So when he did promote something, it was challenging to get them to click when he needed them to. So about, I don't know, a year and a half ago, he changed his strategy and he posted about it on his blog. And I've got a quote from his blog I want to share with you here. And by the way, hey, Debbie, here's what he wrote. He said, as a reader, this might not seem immediately important, but as an online marketer, it's critical. If people don't click, they don't buy. And if I don't get buyers for my signature products, I can't continue to provide free resources like my blog, my podcast, and ebooks for free. I added the duplicate free in there. So don't think that he was a terrible writer. Instead, I want to train people to click. That's what we're talking about. I love it. So I can raise my overall conversion percentage. That's the percentage of people who take action. The early results tell us it's working. We're getting more click-throughs now than a month ago. Now, I made that switch about, I don't know, 4 years ago. The results were immediate. We went from a CTR, that's click-through rate, CTR. We went from a click-through rate on, I lost myself there. Okay, I found it. We went from a click-through rate on promotional emails of less than 1%, I believe like 0.8, 0.9%, to a little bit over 3%. So let's just go from 1 to 3. That is a dramatic increase, 3 times the clicks, and they've continued to go up. So number one, don't send the whole post. Don't send all of your content in the email. You got to get them to click. All right. Yeah.
I signed up for somebody's email list the other day, and they still send the whole post with no link. I was blown away. Like, this is somebody with like tens of thousands of readers, like every day. And I was like,
yeah.
believe it. But I don't, you know what? I don't ever go to their site. I just don't.
I mean, that's the thing. They got you to go once. I mean, it's kind of like if hypothetically, if all you really ever needed from Amazon was your everyday stuff and they just continually shipped it to you, that's great in the sense they're going to continue to make money. The downside is if they're not doing anything hypothetically to get you to come to their website, you'll never find out about all the new amazing stuff they have that's, shiny and better than the other stuff that you have. So don't do that. All right, number 2, focus on click rates, not open rates. Okay, open rates are awesome. We love getting better open rates. Getting attacked by a stray hair. And we love getting better open rates because generally speaking, the higher the click-through rate, the higher the open rate. Or the higher the open rate, the higher the click rate. The higher the click rate, the higher the sales, of course. But it's not always the case. So what I want you to do is become obsessive. Obsess over CTR. Obsess over your click-through rate. That is the only metric that you use in measuring email performance, okay? Remember, you're conditioning your audience to click, not just to open. So measure what matters most.
Can I jump in?
Yeah.
So you mentioned that, and I agree. But all things equal, you do want more people to open your emails. So in the Ultimate Guide, we actually have a post that talks about how to double those.
Ooh, yeah. And that's up already?
It is up already.
Ooh, yeah. Sweet.
So if you go to mattmcwilliams.com/small and look for the post titled how to nearly double your email open rate overnight. All things being equal, if you double your open rate and you're doing these 9 things we talk about today, you'll get more clicks too.
Love it. Love it, love it, love it. Mark, I just sent you a text.
You sent me a text. Okay.
Yeah. So far we've covered don't send the post in your email and focus on click rates, not open rates. The third thing you can do to condition your audience, this is huge, guys. This took me forever to get right. And when I finally did, it was like, I could hear the click-through rate angels singing. Format your regular emails and your promotional emails the same. So a lot of people do what I used to do. they format their regular emails, so their blog posts, their podcast, here's a new video. They format those one way, and then they format their promotional emails differently. And so that was just killing our marketing. Do not do this, right? It's the same as we talked about this, using a sales voice. Don't use a sales voice. Okay? What I mean by that is, in an extreme, it's the where you're like, yeah, I released this new blog post today. It's about this topic, man. You should go read this. It's really cool. I share some really cool research. But then a product comes along, you go, once in a lifetime, a product comes along that'll change your life. And today I want to share that product with you. They don't do that. That's dumb. It doesn't work. Do not be a used car salesman. And the same is true, just like that immediate looking at the email. If people can look at they can open the email and immediately go, or the subject line even, they can look at it and go, yep, that's a promotional email. He's trying to sell me something. That's bad. There's nothing wrong with trying to sell something to somebody. Clearly, we just spent a half hour talking about that. To sell is to serve, and to serve is a privilege. So therefore, and in conclusion, to serve is a privilege. Wait, to sell is a privilege. If A plus B equals C, then what is the inversive principle or whatever? And it's so true, right? So there's nothing wrong with trying to sell. You just don't want it to come out like immediately, like I'm getting ready to be sold to. So it's important, if you want people to click on your promotional emails, you make them look and feel like your regular emails. Whether you're sending them to a blog post, a video, a sales page, just keep the format consistent. Keep the look of it the same. If you always use an animated GIF in your emails, don't suddenly not use one when you're selling. If you never use one, don't suddenly use one when you're selling. Now, if you sometimes use one, it's a great thing about mixing it up a little bit. Have a little variety to your regular email so that you can have a little variety to your promotional emails. The easiest way to do this is to follow a consistent template. And so you'll see in my emails that I follow, excuse me, guys, I'm getting a sore throat. I follow a pretty consistent template. I go story, imagine top to bottom, story, lesson, application, and then the call to action. So I tell a story. In fact, I've got a video coming out next week where I talk about how to use swipe copy, and then I walk you through how I do that. And so I use that for promotional emails, but I tell a story often, not always, but often. Then I have a lesson. What did I learn from that story? Then I apply it to the reader. And one of the simplest ways to do that is just a simple, maybe you've been through something similar. And then I have a call to action. So whether it's an email about a blog post or an affiliate offer, an internal promotion, the format is generally the same. So we talked about, if you're just joining us, like Michael, hey, Michael, and I see some others just joining us as well. Don't send your posts in the email. Focus on the click rates, not open rates, and format those regular emails and promotional emails the same. Fourth thing to condition your audience is use a clear call to action. Always use a clear call to action. You need to make the call to action blatantly obvious. What is a blatantly obvious call to action? How about click here? What's the call to action? Click here. How about click the link below? Register now by clicking here. Click here to blank, whatever it is. Join us now. Blatantly obvious call to action. Don't leave anything to chance. Don't make them guess like, wait, is that, wait, what is that? What am I supposed to do here? You want to do not make them guess. Make it blatantly obvious.
So would you also with that, I mean, I'm just thinking out loud, Matt, would another one be like, share, or comment to win Ray's book? I'm just
blatantly
curious.
Obvious. How do you win Ray's book? Yeah, this is Ray's book. I don't know why, but I had it upside down here and I was like, is that even his book? Because his book and Jeff Walker's book look exactly the same. And I always pick the wrong one up. Yeah, what was it you were saying? Yeah,
they do
win the book. Like, share, and comment. blatantly obvious. I love this. Yeah, I love Phil's comment there. That's awesome. In the middle is your authentic self, guys. Yeah, check that out. That's awesome. All right, so we've talked about, focusing on click rates, the formatting your posts, not sending those posts in the email, and we just talked about using a clear call to action. Number 5 is, now this is one of those things where I don't have the answer. Okay, so my encouragement to you here is test your link format. And what I mean by that is, if you're on my email list, and you should be, if you're not, go to mattmcwilliams.com and get signed up. You'll notice that most of our calls to action are something like this. They'll say something like, click below to read today's post, or click below to, learn more. Click below to join us now. And then it'll have a link. In other words, I spell out the link. So mattmcwilliams.com/small goes to the ultimate guide to monetizing a small list. mattmcwilliams.com/get BYE, I think, is how you buy 5 days to your best year ever through us, right? I spell out the link. I use Pretty Link. It creates, like, we don't send them to mattmcwilliams.com/ultimate-guide-to-monetizing- I'm halfway asleep already. Like, we don't send them to that. We create a Pretty Link, right? We create that Pretty Link. So instead of that long URL, we use a short one using Pretty Link. And we do that so that the link is consistent. You want to go buy a product through us, it still starts with mattmcwilliams.com/whatever. Now, other online marketers, and we're starting to do this, we're testing it, they hyperlink text in their email. So they'll say, click here to register, and that link is hypertexted, I guess. Hypertexted? Yeah, we'll call it that. Which one works best? I don't know. It depends on your audience. So for me, a while back, I tested it. I found that with my audience, putting the URL in its own line had about a 0.5% higher click-through rate. So, that's a big deal. That's about 10,000 clicks, or probably more than that. Probably 25,000 clicks a year. It's a big deal. It's a very big deal. But the ultimate answer for you is to test it and see what works for your audience. I don't know. Also, test like language, like click here to join us or join us here. Which one works? I don't know. Depends on your audience. Number 6, we finally got to the second hand.
I have a question. Well, I don't.
Yes.
Michael does.
Michael has a question?
That's a question. Yeah. Let me grab it here.
Yeah, I see it there.
Said, how would you want to read it? Or do you want me to?
No, do you want to show it up on the screen?
I'm working on it. Go ahead. You can read it.
So how would you put a CTA in Facebook or Instagram? Same way. If you guys see our post, we'll do here. I'll write an example in the comments so you guys can see. So it's like, click here to join us. I'll just put that in the comments. And I don't know if there's a lag. I think there's a little bit of a lag between when I'm commenting and when I'm saying it, but you guys will, another
thing,
the idea. Matt. And so it's click here to join us. And then, I vary it. Sometimes I do the little pointy, I'll put a couple of pointy emojis, sometimes I'll put just a colon and then a link. Sometimes I'll put the link on its own line. Sometimes they don't. But I usually use at least 2. And so I vary it, and same kind of thing. You kind of test what's going to get the best click-through rates for your audience.
Yeah.
Now, again, we're talking about email today, but hopefully that answers your question, Michael.
There's some different ways to do call to actions on Facebook and Instagram too. A lot of times it's comment below. So that changes it a little bit, but you're still conditioning your audience to do those things.
Yeah. Gwen said he's asking because I said you shouldn't say click here in Facebook. I have had no downsides to that whatsoever in terms of engagement.
We even do it on sponsored posts or boosted posts.
Yeah. What'd you say?
We've even done it on boosted posts.
Yeah. I will tell you that, unless I'm just missing it, I have noticed no in like difference. I mean, everything for us is measured in engagement. I don't really care about, I don't care about views. I don't care about likes. I care about engagement because that's the ultimate. I mean, obviously I care about sales. That's the big one. But in terms of in the Facebook dashboard, looking at what we can measure there, I care about engagement. I've noticed no discernible difference, at least that I've seen, between when I do a click here or, grab your copy or join us or anything like that personally. So maybe there's some studies out there that show otherwise. It just hasn't affected us at all. Yeah.
Test it.
Yeah, test it. I mean, that's the thing. I actually do. Part of it is you can't scientifically test that on Facebook unless you boost the post. That's the only way, because otherwise you post today, you post tomorrow, different people see it. There are other factors like, comments and shares. So you just don't, or are you going to post the same exact message back-to-back days? Of course, you're not going to get a scientific result, but you could with boosted posts. That's the only way to scientifically test it. All right, so way number 6 to condition your audience is another test one here. Test your email length and your format of email. I know you guys might be thinking, I get this all the time. What email format gets the most click-throughs? Is it the narrow copy, the wide copy? Do I include an image? Do I, is it one sentence per paragraph, or do I sometimes, is it mostly one sentence per paragraph? Is it 3 sentences? Does it look like a book? I can tell you it doesn't look like a book. You do not want long blocks of text. You do want to break it up no matter what your niche. The truth is, all of those niches, or all those questions, the answers, I don't know. Super helpful, right? Because I don't know what works best for you. I know what works best for me. I know what works best for my audience. I know what we've discovered by testing. We've tested, right? We've tested all this stuff. Most of my emails are 1 sentence paragraphs, for example. 1 sentence paragraphs. Occasionally 2, very rarely 3. Mark, would you say probably every 10th email has a 3 sentence paragraph roughly? I mean, it's very rare. And usually that's if it's short sentences, right? The average length of my emails is 109 words. I pulled when I was doing the research for this a while back, I pulled up 50 emails, copied and pasted them into Microsoft Word, told me how many words were in the email or in the document, divided by 50. That's how we got that number, 109 words. So it's enough to spark interest and curiosity without giving too much away, which is exactly what you want. So if you're writing to stay-at-home moms about organic tomatoes, if you're writing, to organic, about like how to eat organic, your format might be different. You might have pictures. You might have animated GIFs. I don't know, right? Your format might be different than if you're writing, to college professors or CPAs or doctors, or it might not. I don't know. So you'll hear me say this so much. With so much of your online business, you need to test the length and the format. So is it narrow? Is it wide? 1 sentence per paragraph. 2, 3, probably not 4. I can almost assure you. Do you include an image? Do you not? Do you include a header image at the top? Do you not? Do you say dear friend or just nothing? Or do you address them by your your tribe name? Like to our List Launch Academy, every email starts off, "Hey, list launchers." Well, what do you write? I don't know. You test it. Test all of that stuff so you can determine what works best for your audience. What is your audience going to respond to? Now, the 7th tip that I want to share with you today, this one, I do know what works, but even here, there's a range, okay? And the 7th way to get your audience conditioned to click is to include a minimum of 2 call to action emails. 2 call to action emails. Minimum. Now, what I just to be clear, I don't mean 2 different links, like you're saying, hey, click here for this and click here for this. Like they go to different places, okay? 2 different instances of the same length or the same link. That means that whether you hyperlink like we talked about, where you say click here and blah, 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 and that all links, or whether you have the URL in the email text, put it in at least 2 different places. Now, I found for my audience, 3. 3 is the magic number. That was also true of Schoolhouse Rocks. I don't know if any of you remember the Blind Melon version of 3 is a magic number. That was my best impression of Blind Melon there. It was terrible.
Oh boy.
But that's what works best. 3 is the magic number for my eyes. Occasionally we have 4, sometimes only 2. Just kind of depends. But generally speaking, and if you follow that flow that I gave you earlier, we have one about halfway through. If you look at the email from top to bottom, you'll find one at about the halfway point. Then one at the end, right below my sign off, and then one in the PS. Now I'm going to talk about PS at the end. That'll be number 9. We'll talk about
Makes
PS.
sense.
But that's where I have those links. So I don't know. You'll find what works best for your tribe by testing, because it might be 5, probably not, but it's probably not 5. It could be 4, it could be 3, it might only be 2. It is definitely a minimum of 2. There's no way almost, I'll take this, because every rule is meant to be broken occasionally. There are a few times, if you go back and look at our last 100 emails, you'll find 1 or 2 where we broke this rule, and there was a reason why we did. And it was actually just that. It was a pattern disrupt. So I saw a question from Phil.
Yeah.
Come in, and then I lost it.
It's on the screen.
It's on the screen. So let me look over here then. Would you say, this is a question from Phil Card, would you say that it is not a good idea to link to other sites, or what do you think? Well, that's what affiliate marketing is. You're linking ultimately to other sites. No matter what you're doing in your emails, always set it up as a pre-link. So the only time you will ever see us not link to a link that's mattmcwilliams.com. So for instance, mattmcwilliams.com / what we got, Mark? What's our link for Secrets of Successful Selling?
/ SOS enroll.
Yeah. So something like that, right? That's how we link. We don't link to whatever the actual URL is. Truth be told, I don't even know what it is. The only exception is occasionally we'll link directly to the Facebook page. 9 times out of 10, we'll say go to mattmcwilliams.com / Facebook. That redirects you. But occasionally, just to see if it gets a little bit more, a few more clicks, because it's a familiar URL and it says facebook.com, we'll click to that. Especially if it's kind of like a flash live type thing, we'll link to that. But yeah, if that's what affiliate marketing is you're linking to other websites. Now, as I mentioned earlier, and Mark shared the stats, if you look at the top marketers, about 5% of the time they're linking externally. So they're linking direct to an affiliate offer. In our industry, that rate's a little bit higher. I'm going to guess and say that probably 7 to 8% of the emails that we send are to other people. 90 some odd percent are sending them to our site. The only other, actually, I just thought of the other one. The only other times when we directly send to them to other websites are to a direct Facebook post, and I send out about 2 emails a year where we send them to something that I posted on Facebook. It's something we really want to drive engagement on. We feel like this could go viral. We did it about 7 weeks ago or so as a part of a promotion. And then we will drive people occasionally directly to a YouTube video on YouTube. So there's 2 ways you can watch our videos. You can watch them at mattmcwilliams.com or the affiliateguide.tv. So there's 3 actually. Or you can go to our YouTube channel. And occasionally we don't send them to my blog to watch the video, the embedded video. We'll send them to YouTube just so they have an opportunity there to subscribe, and it drives up our YouTube subscribers. But we don't, I would say, Mark, we only do that with 15% of the videos we send out.
Yeah, very little.
Roughly, most of the time we'll send you to mattmcwilliams.com to watch the video, but occasionally we'll send you, to YouTube. Now, one of the questions I've been getting, and then we'll move on to the 8th way to condition your audience.
Did you see the clarification on Phil's question?
I did.
Okay.
And Michael asked, 50-50. No, not even close. Like I just said.
Yeah.
But, for example, do you ever just share links to something of Ray Edwards, for example, that is not social? Yeah. On the blog, not in email. So what I would do if I wanted to, let's just say I saw something. Let me back up. Yes, all the time on social media. About a third of our social media shares are other people's content. Now, just as a side note, there's 2 reasons why we do this. Getting way off track here. Thanks a lot, Phil.
Way to go.
Number 1, it's great content and it benefits my audience. We consider ourselves curators of great content. Number 2, it helps them, which in turn comes back to help us. It's a way of getting on people's radars. I get a lot of the times I'll see where somebody will be like, yeah, I met so-and-so and, Jeff Walker was talking about you last week, or yeah, I met Ray a couple weeks ago and he was talking about you. And then I saw that you shared my stuff and I want to be your best friend now. It doesn't really go that way, but you get the idea. So there's 2 reasons why we do that. But what we would do if we wanted to talk about, let's say Ray released an amazing thing, amazing piece of content, I would record a video and I would read excerpts of that thing or talk about it. I would share my commentary on it, and then we would link to it from there. So I wouldn't link directly to his content
from the blog post.
Yeah.
Or video.
So number eight, way to condition your audience. So far, we've talked about don't send those posts in the email. Focus on click rates, not open rates. Right? That's huge. Talked about formatting, make sure they're consistent, but also test and see what's going to work for your audience. You want to keep those emails the same, email, whether they're promo emails or just content emails. Test that link format. Make sure you have that clear call to action. Number 8 is to focus on the benefits. Okay. So in other words, what are the benefits of clicking? Just like we talked about making your call to action abundantly clear, you need to preface that by making the benefit of clicking abundantly clear. If I said, click here to have a chance at winning this amazing book, for example, that's not how you win today. We've talked about that. You share, you comment, all that. We'll pick a winner here between 8 and 9. But if I say that, you go, okay, the benefit is if I click here, I could win. Okay, got it. Well, then the call to action is click here, right? So an example of that is, like these 7 tips will transform your marriage almost overnight. Click here to get the 7 tips. Oh, okay, the benefit to clicking is pretty obvious. Click here to get the free ebook. It'll show you exactly how to get rid of, belly fat forever, right? It'll show, click here to get my free report. It'll show you how to get rid of termites. Click the link below and take your email marketing to the next level. Not my best one, but you get the idea. Click below to read the post and learn how this simple drill can shave strokes off your golf score. The benefits are clear, right? So don't forget to tell your audience what they get by clicking. That is so, so huge. You have to be crystal abundantly clear what they actually get. Click here to discover how to, get rid of unwanted whatever. Click here to learn how to sell in an ethical, non-slimy, non-sleazy, non-smarmy, non-salesy, non-whatever way.
GMO.
Non-GMO.
You're welcome. We're gonna use that in an email.
Yeah. Join us to find out how you can blank. Make it so clear. All right. And then last, I mentioned that we would do this, that I would share how to use your PS. The last one is use your PS well. And we're going to finish talking about that after. Give away Ray's book. How to Write Copy That Sells. Book completely transformed my business. This is not my copy. This is actually a brand spanking new copy. But if you looked at my copy, you will see somewhere around, I'm trying to think, let me see if I can find it here. Is this like the 20? Yeah, 26 and 27. In my book, it's over there. 20 pages 26 and 27 are like stuck in the book. They have fallen out, for they are so complete. I mean, the book is completely destroyed. But it's, and like, no matter what, I will never stop using that copy. Well, I can't see your screen. Let me see it.
There's like a bunch of highlights and stuff.
Oh yeah, yeah,
everywhere.
I mean, it's got like 8 different colors in it, and notes all up and down the margins, and post-it notes in it, dog-eared pages. In fact, one of the things I've got to share with you guys, Mark, you just got a copy. On an upcoming Facebook Live, I'm going to share one of my dearest, most treasured possessions now.
This one?
And yeah, do you have it, Mark? You know where I'm going with this. Guys, this is the coolest thing. It is a copy of See You at the Top, the original version by Zig Ziglar. But see if you can show, if we can see.
I'm going to try to find a good page.
So Mark Tim, who was on earlier, they had copies of this made.
This was your idea, by the way.
This was not my idea. Yes, it was.
Yes,
this was my idea. I remember now. Oh my gosh, I do remember that conversation. I forgot about that. And they finally got him. Okay, so Zig took his own book and read it, and went through and made notes and corrections, and he wrote ideas for improving it. It's dog-eared. And then they had a company, I'm almost positive it's a company here in the United States, where people literally went through and hand dog-eared the pages. Yeah, look at this. This is so stinking cool. And it's like
notes
reprinted. So they reprinted the book with his notes, like in red ink, in black ink, if it's black ink, in everything. Yeah, it's so to be honest, Gwen, it is not a first edition, because there is, like, this doesn't exist. You cannot
look at all the dog ears. Like, I feel bad if I dog ear my book once, and he's got like 12,000.
Yeah, guys, it's the coolest thing. So we'll share some of that, like how that came to be. It is literally like, it's in the box. I still have it in the box. I don't know what to do with it. You know, like, what am I saying? Like, I want to read it, but I also, it's like having like this treasure, you know? And it's kind of like, as a kid, I used to collect baseball cards. And so, like, all the cards that were worth anything, I never touched them. So it's really, really cool.
Did you see the note in the front? I don't even know who this is, but there's one note that says, "Find Dr. Bob Price."
Yeah.
I'm like, who's Dr. Price?
So this, like, last January, I got to actually hold Zig's copy. Like, see, this is a replication. There's like, I think there's 200 of these in existence, if I'm not mistaken. There might be a few more. And it's like, you know, Mark Tim sent us a copy, and it's got like the certificate of authenticity from Tom Ziegler. But I got to hold Zig's copy, and it was like, and we were sitting at lunch with Kevin Harrington and Brian Harrington and Richie Norton and in Franklin. Yeah. And I looked at Kevin, and I was like, I feel like I'm holding the Gutenberg Bible. You know, like, this is the sales and motivation and like life. I don't know. I was like, I don't know what to do with this. And so I'm like turning the pages, you know, like they're made of papyrus, you know, or papyrus or whatever it's called. And I'm like, they're going to break. Although I did at Blackberry Farm this week, I held the 1892 congressional record. And it's just, and like the pages, you can like the sound, you know, and you're like afraid they're going to break. And I was reading a back and forth between like senators who were arguing about like some land deal. It was awesome how polite they were, even though they were basically like insulting each other. It was amazing. Anyway, all right. So Mark, let's draw the winner here. Who is winning this copy of How to Write Copy That Sells?
Which, by the way, is not Ray's personal copy.
No, it's not Ray's personal copy, nor is it a replication, nor are you getting my personal copy that's falling apart, because I refer to that book at least every 2 weeks, for the record.
You know, I got to tell you, Matt, the winner, I believe, is Phil. He's had some really good comments.
Well, good, because I've got another book coming your way already. I mail books out once a month, FYI, Phil. And so I know you want a book 2 to 4 weeks ago, roughly.
Did he?
And
should I change?
What's that?
Should I change who wins it?
No,
No,
you
it's
can learn
Phil.
multiple.
Phil's had the best comments today.
Awesome. Well done, Phil. You will now get 2 books at the same time, which saves me on postage. So way to go.
So Phil, you're gonna win next week too, just to save us money.
No, actually, they'll go out before. No, we will do the Facebook Live before I mail them out next week. So, so
It's really hard to break in once you've won once.
yeah. All right. So that 9th one, guys, real quick, use your PS well. That postscript. Now, if you think about a typical PS, right? You think of, you write this long letter and it's, here's how our family's doing and, blah, 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 right? And then you go, PS, we'll be in Chicago next month. We'd love to catch up. That's a typical PS, right? In other words, it adds new information, not in online marketing. The PS restates the offer. This is crucial. It restates the offer. It's used to sum up the email basically, and then restate the offer. So it's also that it's one last opportunity, as I said earlier, to sneak in a link. So most of the time, not always, again, we break the pattern every now and again. Most of the time, you will see the PS, or the very last thing is a link in the PS. That's the last line in our emails, other than like the stuff at the bottom that's like, here's if you want to unsubscribe, blah, blah, blah. And, here's our address that we have to legally put. So you say something like, here's some examples here. Mark, I'm going to read these direct. I would love if you could just share these in the comments. PS. This course has literally saved thousands of marriages around the world. It will work for you too. But this offer closes at midnight tonight, or tonight at midnight. So act now. Click here to get it now. Okay. So that's it just restates the offer. This is not new information that you're saying in this email. PS, these workout secrets aren't for the faint of heart. You'll work harder than you ever have in your entire life, but the results are worth it. Click here to read today's post. Not an offer, but just some content, right? PS, one way or another, you are conditioning your audience. The question is, how are you conditioning them? Come to today's Facebook Live to learn how to condition your audience. To click, see what I did there? That's how you do a PS. And then you put the link below. And, to answer Brian's question, do you have a PS on every email? No, most of them. Not always. It's a feel thing a lot of times. Just feel like a PS email. Excuse me. Or do you just email on your promotional emails? No, that would totally break. That's just it, Brian. We have variety on our regular emails and our promotional emails. So you don't want to do that. You do not want to just use a PS if you're promoting something, because again, we talked about that. Immediately they open the email, they see a PS and go, he's selling something, I'm done. It's yeah. I mean, that's how you do it. The PS restates the offer.
Well, and one of the things we do, Matt, sometimes, not all the time, is the PS. If we're doing like, I don't know, 9 ways to get your audience to click and buy, we might say PS number 4 literally changed our business or something.
Yeah, that's a really it's a good way to do it.
Yeah, you can't do it every time because then everybody's like, you're just picking one. But I don't know, once a month, once every couple months, we do that.
Yeah, and then a lot of times you can use the PS to restate the offer and include a little nugget that sweetens it a little bit. So for instance, you might say in the PS, what was the PS I used a moment ago? It was here, you sent it. I'm actually I'm gonna just, oh yeah, one way or another, you're conditioning your audience, blah, blah, blah. And then you might say, that's where you introduce and say, we're doing it on Facebook, but you don't have to have a Facebook account to watch. Well, that is new information, but it's not really. Right. It's still the core is come watch the Facebook Live about this thing. You might introduce a little bit of new information. PS, this course has changed, hundreds of lives, and it'll change your too. But it really does shut down. Registration really does shut down at midnight so that so-and-so can focus on helping their students. So don't miss out, join here, something like that.
Yeah.
You technically didn't say, and maybe you mentioned in the email that it closes at midnight, but you didn't say so they can focus on serving their new students. You see where you can use that, where it's just a little bit of a reinforcement as well. That's the big thing, is reinforce the core message. So
It's
guys,
kinda
that's
like
9 ways to condition your audience to click and to buy, which is ultimately what we want them to do. Again, this is a part of what we're doing all March long, which is the ultimate guide to monetizing a small email list. I included this in the ultimate guide to monetizing a small email list because this is something you have to learn when you have a small email list. You don't wait to learn to condition your audience when you have 100 or 1,000 or 5,000 people. Like we said so many times, the best time to condition your audience is from day one. The second best time is right now. So if you've already got 750 people, but you haven't conditioned them, well, cool. Start now. Just start now. That's the key. If you're already conditioning it a little bit, do a better job. If you've got one person on your email list, great, condition them. And then the second person and the fifth person and the 5,000th person. So go to mattmcwilliams.com/small. You can see all the content in the ultimate guide. And if you want to get updated when we've got another Facebook Live coming up next week. We've got tons of content still coming this month on the ultimate guide to monetizing a small email list. We're only about 3/4 done. So we got a lot to come. Go to mattmcwilliams.com/UG for ultimate guide, and we will send you updates. And as always, it's been a long time since we did a Friday Facebook Live, but that's just what happened this week with me being on vacation. This was fun. Have an amazing rest of your week.
You were vacationing?
It's almost over. And don't you dare anyone tell me what the Tennessee score is, because I'm getting ready to start watching that game now.
You didn't have it on?
Go enjoy the NCAA tournament and enjoy your weekend, guys. To me, it's one of the best weekends of the whole year with college basketball. It's just so much fun for me. And we will see you next week, guys. Take care.
See you guys.